We now have Mr. David Birvarkar, Director Strategic Growth and Institutional Excellence, HIMT, to present the summary proceedings.
Thank you, Radhika. I think it's been an exhausting day, and I think gross injustice to me to do the sum now. I think people must be already exhausted, but I think that we had a lot of wonderful sessions and a lot of meaningful discussions. So I'm sure the summary may a little pale in comparison, but I guess that's going to be the overall gist of the day, and I'm sure we will all be presenting the white papers to the administration for taking further action. So we started the day by the theme, as we know, was making seafarers future ready, and Kamal sir spoke about the summary from 2023 and the takeaways from that summit. And then Captain Dr. Rajesh Tandon gave an outline of the summit and what we intend to achieve. You mentioned about the investment of 70,000 crores by the government, scope of increasing manpower from 12% to 20% from India for global shipping, as currently 96,000 seafarers, 12% to increase to 160,000 by 2030. Challenges bottleneck of trading slots on board was mentioned, and need to increase in foreign companies the slots for Indians. So as you know, Indian shipping has very limited slots, so it has to be in the foreign companies or with ship managers. Concept of dedicating training slots like the past, like the ships. I think MOL has a few ships where they do they have these training ships, and it's a beautiful concept which they had all these years, and I think others will have to follow suit so that we have training slots, so that, I mean, not training slots but training ships which will be used and for dedicated training, and then only they will go to the main fleet. So our future seafarers ready, training needs, competency, trainers to be upgraded, quality of trainers, certification of trainers, all that was supposed to be part of the giving the gist for the day. Then of course well-being of the seafarers in the maritime industry, awareness in schools and colleges regarding maritime career, all this was a gist, and of course after that we had detailed discussion during the sessions. Mr. Amitabh Kumar, guest of honor, spoke about the bright spot in Indian maritime industry, about the growth of seafarers, about 17% per year, which is, and now the target is obviously from 300,000 to 500,000. So will there be enough opportunities, was what was mentioned. Indian core efficiency tankers need to diversify to gas carriers, bulk carriers and cruise ships was mentioned. So something where the training needs will have to be enhanced for such ship operations. Needless to mention that cruise ships are the fastest growing, so we need to look at that. Training needs to be diversified. Training slots are less, so alternate means of training, like simulator training for sea time. So basically look at plans over 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and how to go about it. Alternate fuels is something which was looked at, like the future, and as was mentioned by Amitabh Kumar sir, that methanol probably looks to be the most likely one, but hydrogen could also be the next alternate. Seafarers need to be trained in regulatory changes, not only IMO regulations, but other ones which are the industry looking at. Gender diversity needs to be all the time in focus. Then we had Frederick Abdelmaguid, Deputy Consul General of the Royal Norwegian Consulate, speak about tackling issues of shadow fleet. It is very important, and he mentioned about other things, that almost 11% of the Norwegian seafarers are Indians, etc. Chief Guest Shishir Shrotriya acknowledged and appreciated the growth of Indian seafarers. Important to acknowledge geopolitics and the issues that are there, like also issues of cyber security, drug trafficking, underwater noise pollution, green shipping, etc., which never existed in the past. So these need to be looked at, was mentioned. BIMCO survey report, actions to be initiated basis that was also talked about. Use of AI, GPT in maritime already commenced, but that is not being spoken about in the AI summit which is there next week in Delhi. So that obviously that is something which needs to be looked at. making the workforce future ready, including updating regarding regulations coming into force, not only the IMO regulations but the other ones also, training the seafarers, skill gaps to be identified and covered. Then the first session was on evolving pedagogical frameworks in maritime education by Professor Maximo Mejia via the video message. He mentioned about maritime having lowest GHG emissions, so wide range of technical possibility to further lower these emissions, which is being looked at. More sophisticated ships will be deployed, so need to upskill and reskill seafarers. Education to cover technical competencies all round and also to cover problem solving, mindset, resilience and continuous learning. Methodology of training has been online, offline, AR, VR, MR, XR, simulators, etc. So it's not just about updating curriculum promptly, but to keep in pace with the fast changing technology and regulations. Cyber threats due to modernized operation of fleet vessels is the reality. So awareness of cyber security is very important, and how to be aware of it and prevent such issues from happening. Alternate fuels, health concerns about users of various fuels should be included in the training syllabus, including mental well-being in the SPCW training, training regarding harassment, bullying, etc. Gender diversity is also something which was mentioned by Professor Meghio. Existing curriculum is unable to cope with evolving time, so MTIs need to change course content, but also faculty development upgrading of the MTIs is something which has to be looked at. Captain Sarabjit Butalia, training consultant from DNV, mentioned about lead instructions, mentioned about what or emphasize what Professor Maximo has mentioned about upskilling and reskilling, changes in the way we teach post-COVID, because that has come to be here permanently, like the online way of training, etc. So, but with this new technology and new training methods, you will probably find that the attention span is very less, and also the fact that online, when the training is done, people may be engaging in other so-called priorities for themselves, where the trainer will not be aware that the students are not paying as much attention as it is required to learn the trades. Developing soft skill will take time. English language proficiency, especially in the crew section, is very low, so that's an issue which needs to be looked at. He mentioned that probably till 2030 we can manage with the existing way we are training, but till 2040 we need a lot of upskilling with training technology to be changed probably. Look at the work-life balance. The first panel discussion, perspective of ship owners and managers, SSW, 416 gaps were identified and likely to be released by 2030. So chapters 2 and 3 will be done this year. Assessment on this and not paper charts will probably be a part of the changes. Crewing strategies, attraction and retention of seafarers, but balancing technical competence with soft skills in modern training. So we are expecting, as was mentioned, we are expecting superheroes. There was one comment. So we will probably have to look at how we can manage with the existing crew with some upskilling, etc. Seafarers need to be resilient, fast learning, adaptive, and calmer mindsets. That was a conclusion drawn from that. Key challenges: talent shortage, not enough competent seafarers, gap is widening, talent attraction more challenging vis-a-vis shore jobs, changing mindset, etc. So another comment which was made was that no dedicated course for fitters, though there is none, but obviously there are upskilling gap covering courses like which are done in Nusi training center in Panvel. So from GP rating to fitters is a possibility. Running a ship is a team effort, so changes to be made in office thinking as much as on board, and obviously no blame culture is something which has to be inculcated. Expectation from seafarers has increased due to increase in expectation from all the stakeholders. So it's not only about what the seafarers can do, but also how the office can assist them. Technology is rapidly changing for use of alternate fuels. Training competency and regulations are lagging behind. So create a happy ship, work as a team. Then we had the PD2, are seafarers future ready? MOL, as I mentioned, has 12 dedicated ship cadet training vessels, and after this only they are sent on the main fleet, so that they become more future ready with such dedicated ships. Seafarers are reluctant to come for value-added courses training when on leave. This is an issue because they would like to use their leave more gainfully, and then the training which they need to do for upskilling, etc., is not easily manageable. Owner managers do their best to upskill seafarers. Third party managers prefer ready-made trained seafarers. So there is a gap there, as was a view of one of the panelists. Considered on seafarers to be physically fit, BMI within limits, etc. Seafarers to be mentally at peace, mental health to be given importance. Information sharing with ships to be reduced from current excessive, because everything what is there with the shore office is sent on the ship, and this information tends to be excessive, and probably we need to be discreet in what we send to the ship. So there is limited things to read rather than having to read everything, or sometimes miss everything, and in that miss something important because of too much information available. Challenges including criminalization and abandonment of vessels to be addressed. Same panel discussion, training, who is paying, so that the standard of training is maintained. I mean, whether the owners are paying, it should be that the seafarer has to pay for this training, and then probably the seafarers will not find it attractive enough to be trained in all the value added courses. DNV has produced 2 papers on training of seafarers and how to make them future ready. It was suggested that people read it so that it will add to their information on how DNV strategizes and how to make the crew future ready. It was also mentioned that maritime students in Singapore are not ready to go out to sea. After doing the training, they would probably take jobs ashore, and in fact, you also look at shortcuts to become superintendent rather than have a training stint before that. Salary packages ashore nowadays are nearly on par with shipboard salaries, so less people want to join ships. So that's why how to make it more lucrative was also discussed in separate panel discussion in the last panel about that one. India Maritime Week to be used to attract youngsters of today to shipping. Bottom line, focus on attracting good and aspiring students to shipping. Faculty to be future ready, upskill of the faculty is required. It's and panel 3 discussion, human capital driving maritime growth, fostering culture of well-being in the maritime sector. DG is doing their part to ensure, encourage, and just not technological development. What worked 40 years back will not work now is what was said, because I also heard a comment in the audience that said apne time mein to nahi hota tha ye, so why now? But as we know that we're changing times, the way we are operating ships and the way we are handling the operations is totally different. MIB 2030 is proposed with this in mind. Welfare schemes, seafarers clubs at each port, etc. are some of the schemes which the DG is proposing. Sagar Mein Yog is also part of this. Facilitate social interaction on board, like example a Sunday off and get together, so that there is more like a family structure on board is also something which was suggested. Attracting by compensation and promotion, and retention by good ships, working atmosphere, long-term benefits, etc. was something which was mentioned. Women seafarers feel that they have to constantly prove themselves. So support from seniors on board is necessary for them to feel otherwise. Myth that women are unsuitable for maritime career is something which needs to be looked at and probably correct the way the people think in the industry. The last panel discussion was on maritime careers from classroom to shipboard and beyond. Before that, DG Shipping mentioned the vision for India to be a leading maritime country, MIV 2030 and Amritkal 2047. Allocation of 69,725 crores has been there for the maritime industries enhancement. There is a DG platform, like a global platform, where safety bulletins, including case studies of missing persons, fatalities, wrong practice, etc. has been made, and it is encouraged that people use this platform for being aware of the various issues which are happening. DG grievance redressal module also is on a single digital platform. And the final panel discussion was on obviously maritime careers from classroom to ships and beyond, where it was shown that we have to make the students in schools and colleges more aware of how and what a maritime career is good for, how they can progress, and as Captain Tandon mentioned, from classrooms and ships to boardroom. So the career path is just not being on the ship to as master or chief engineer, or coming into ships offices and become a superintendent or a surveyor, but it can be as high as going to the board of directors or an MD or a CEO of a company. So career aspirations and paths, and also addressing the issues of the youngsters of today, the Gen Z and the Gen Millennial are not the way we were 30 years back. So they need to be well describe what the career holds for them, probably understand their issues, and also encourage them when they are working hard, etc. So these are some of the points which were mentioned, and it was very fruitful fourth panel discussion also. And some of the points, or many of the points, I'm sure we need to take cognizance of if we have to really have a good what do you call class or competent seafarers in the near future. So thank you so much. I think that's the long and short of what we discussed through the day.
So please stay back with us. I invite Captain Jagdeep Kalon to please come up on stage and present a token of appreciation to Mr. David Birwadkar. Yes, yes. I now invite my colleague Ms. Delphine Estevero to propose a formal vote of thanks.
Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, respected guests, distinguished speakers, panelists, and moderators. It is my profound privilege, pride, and pleasure to extend heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for being part of the enriching second edition of ATPI Marek's Global Crewing and Training Summit and Kashti Awards 2026. Today, Friday the 13th February, has indeed been a remarkable journey. Despite the dynamic changes to a program that has been in preparation for nearly a year, your gracious patience and unwavering energy ensured that the success of every session today. We owe special thanks to our moderators and panelists for their thought-provoking presentations and experts' insights, which have greatly deepened our understandings of maritime crewing and training landscapes. Our warmest congratulations to the award winners for your outstanding achievements. Your dedication and excellence in the maritime profession inspires us all. We also extend sincere appreciation to our valued sponsors and contributors. Your support not only illuminated this event but also strengthened our mission. Your confidence in us motivates the Marek's team to strive for greater heights. Finally, we are grateful to acknowledge the indispensable guidance of our distinguished boards of advisors. Thank you for attentive hospitality of the hotel staff and the tireless efforts of the Marek's team. Your collaborative spirit has been the cornerstone of this event's success. Thank you once again for your presence and participation. We will see you all at the Kashti Awards at 7:30 p.m. Thank you.